turning back.
Welcome. Boy Scouts podcast, man. Here we are, Danny.
Outside, dude.
We're outside. It's
We're
so
outside.
pretty.
Oh my gosh.
I wish you people could see like behind us,
What we have.
like what we could see, what's behind you. Next time we'll set up and we'll film that direction. But
I put a little Instagram story out there just so that you could see like
Yeah.
where we were setting up. We took the bus out. We're gonna try to do more stuff out of the bus. We're right on the Provo River. We can hear the river. You can't see it from where we're at, but what this is called is the Provo River Restoration Project.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid and we'd come up here, the Provo River actually ran a little differently. I can't quite remember, but where the dam was at, the river kind of ran a little bit more straight. And what they ended up doing is all these buku rich fishermen and city thought, man, let's make this thing cool. And they have all these little pullouts like we're in, but they made the river kind of wind a little bit more, and they have these tailing ponds with aqueducts. So instead of the river flowing up, it disperses so they can still fish because this would be considered a blue ribbon fishery.
Yeah.
And I guess blue ribbon fishery means it's legit.
yeah,
And
I
they're
know.
fishing all the time, and you are catching good fish all the time.
Stocked well.
Stocked well.
Yeah. I think the story, I remember hearing it, like this is the middle Provo, right? So they break it up.
Yep.
There's above Jordanelle, where we were this weekend.
Yep.
There's the upper Provo.
Right.
You got Blow Dew Creek. That's the lower Provo.
Lower.
That's where all the tubes go.
Yeah.
Still great fishing in that
Great
area.
fishing.
But this middle Provo is like,
Legit.
it's paradise for fishermen.
It's paradise for us, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't realize what you have until you, I mean, like Tyler and I have lived here for, going on greater part of it. We're on the tail end of a 10-year period of living here. You probably lived here for more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe. And to us, this is like normal life, right? But as we're driving here, we're like, dude, this is so cool. This is a cool thing. We're going to, try to do more stuff with the bus, take it out more and visit more. And, but last year during the big runoff, there was a geyser. So you're coming down the road and you could see this like a water feature. It was like a water feature, but this geyser shooting up and people are like, hey, what's going on with the river? But it's because they pumped the water through those little areas and it was shooting up. It was actually bubbling up because there was so much water. And what an insane life like that we're able to live, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like
Nothing
you said,
but blessings.
we had a crazy week. And first and foremost, let's talk a little bit about what Nick's celebration of life.
Yeah.
Big cheers to Nick.
Big cheers to
Big
Nick.
cheers. Dude, Nick, what a great thing you guys were able to do, right?
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of information. Like what ended up so where was it at?
So here's the thing. We roll into Denver Friday. Okay. We got up a little early, got the kids. We were there. Cozy's like, hey, Zach Bryan's in town. And so I'm like, let's look at tickets. And so like on a whim, we pull Zach Bryan tickets,
Oh my gosh.
middle deck, like kind of the front row of the middle deck. Great show. The light rail breaks down on the way down there. We meet a guy that like is an Uber driver that he ends up shipping my knife to me. It's a crazy story. But then come to find out, like my whole family has been planning this celebration of life and nobody's told me that I have all these assignments.
Yeah.
I thought all I had to do was MC.
Sure.
And I was just totally prepared to MC. I talked to all the other speakers, aligned everything, coordinated kind of a family get together before for all the speakers so we could kind of outline it. And I didn't realize that they were scooping. My mom and my aunt and my cousin made this, what they called Nick Mix. It's like a Chex Mix.
Oh, yeah.
Some of his like favorite. Yeah. It's like some of his favorite treats. And it was like just a sweet little, trail mix that was delicious. And they scooped it into bags and had it. I mean, it felt a little bit like, it didn't feel like a celebration. It felt like a wedding a little bit.
Did the beer flow?
No, because we didn't get a liquor permit.
No.
Some of us rogues did have
Sneak some
in. There was a couple sneaky sneakers.
It was at a park or where was it at?
Yeah, it was at a park in Castle Rock, the Philip Miller Park, which is really cool. It has a pond on one end. It's a really open, grassy area. There's an amphitheater kind of adjacent. And Bo Thomas, Nick's, like, I want to say elementary school friend. Like we knew so I was friends with Aaron. Aaron was my age. We graduated together. And then Bo, just by default, was this happened to be the same age as Nick.
Yeah.
And was Aaron's little brother. And we just hung out. We like grew up together, hanging out. And he played a set of music. He plays in a band. A few shows a year up in Breckenridge. Just an incredible musician. And I kind of got into a spat with Mom. I was like, no, you got to move him up. Nobody wants to be down here. Like, people want to be where the food is. They want to be where the activities are. I think it was kind of her way of putting the people that might drink kind of away from everything.
You know, that's got to be hard, right, to navigate those waters like you guys do. And I you know, your mom is great.
Right.
She's great. But she definitely has the LDS culture still in her back pocket, and she still lives by those rules.
Yeah.
And drinking is not something that she is comfortable with.
Well, and it's less her than it is like some of the other sisters. Sure. Unfortunately, there was one aunt that I was told refused to show up because there might be alcohol there.
Oh, really?
And then to me, that's like, it's so pious.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so pious.
Sure. And it's got to be a bummer.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of life for her nephew, and it's like, get over some of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But man, I know a lot of some of those things in the culture and the faith, like that's just their rules, man. And they live by those rules, you know? And so what exactly was your job? What did you were an MC, correct?
So I was the MC, yeah.
Did you have to tell stories? Did you just make it up on the whim? Did you know what you were going to talk about?
I'm one of those that like master procrastination, right? I had a lot that I wanted to say. I had a clip. I mean, I brought up a couple things. My theme was really stories, right? Okay. So I brought up a clip from, there's a movie called Peanut Butter Falcon. And Peanut Butter Falcon is Shia LaBeouf and a gentleman with some
with Down syndrome, some sort of
handicap, right? And there's a section where they're crossing the river, and I set it up like this. So one time, Nick and I were at Lair the Bear in Lakewood. There's a little river not too dissimilar from this one, and I got the idea to set up a zip line. And I set up the zip line and I volunteered, maybe just tied him up and did it. But then I said, first. Yeah, he's going first. And I said, here's a clip of Nick actually doing it. And I played this scene from the movie where this kid goes, "Hey, Tyler," because Shia LaBeouf's character's name is Tyler. He goes, "Am I going to die?" And Shia LaBeouf goes, of course you are. That's not the question. The question is, are they going to have good stories to tell when you're gone? Yeah. And so that was my theme, like good stories. Dave, his coworker and business owner, like, was the first person to speak, gave a great kind of work life visual of how Nick worked. Yeah. I had a neighborhood friend, the current neighborhood friend that he lives in, give a great speech, tell some stories. My mom gave a very beautiful talk. You know, everybody had about 3 to 5 minutes, and then it closed off with his high school best friend who, you know, everybody was laughing. Everybody laughed. Everybody kind of cried.
Sure.
My cousin, who's my age, Greg, he opened us up. The prelude music was a trio of songs he rearranged. Guns N' Roses, "Sweet Child of Mine." What is it? Baby Boy by John Lennon, or Beautiful Boy by John Lennon. And then some Howie Day. Howie Day was one of Nick's favorite artists. So, and then we just, said, hey, have some food, share some stories. And we all just kind of sat around and chatted. I saw people I hadn't seen in years.
Good. So that's like one of those things where, I talk about with Misty, and you and I have talked about this before. The celebration of life is the way that I'd like myself to go.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen, right?
No.
You never know what's going to take you. You never know what's going to, how your end is. It's funny because we've talked about death before, and as humans, we have this ability to think of our own demise.
Yeah.
Right? We can play it out like how we potentially could. If we were just animals in the wilderness, we wouldn't think about how we were going to die. We were just living.
Yeah.
They're literally living. They're just focused on living.
Right.
And that's a good way to live. Sometimes I think I get in my own mind of like my own demise. Like I've talked about before, when I was younger, I would, have such anxiety attacks of the fact that I was going to die.
Yeah.
And would my life be fulfilled in all these things that I wanted to fulfill?
Yeah.
And so a celebration of life is what you want, right? You don't want people you know they're going to be sad, you know they're going to be hurt
Yeah.
that you're not here.
Yeah.
You know? And we've talked about that with Nick. Nick being a big part of your life, and Casey and the boys. I got to meet the boys over the weekend.
Yeah.
And they're great. The little one, man, Jamie, that kid looks identical to his father.
Yeah.
The pictures that you had of Bryn when Bryn was a baby and Nick was holding her, dude, I seen Jamie and I was like, dude, this guy is a spitting image of him. Right.
Yeah.
And they were really, really good boys, really personable, really social. Like they weren't awkward in front of everybody. They were, you know, they were boys. And so they were 100 miles an hour getting stuck in the bushes on the paddle boards and where they at and can't find them. And they're stuck in the bushes.
Getting invited to every volleyball game they could get on. So yeah, that was the other activity, man. And the one thing I'll say just with Nick is that like, the whole thing, you don't realize how expensive it's going to be.
Sure.
And to be honest, like I get like you want there to be an event for the person, but like when I think about like, do I really want my family to spend 30 grand on a casket, 10 grand on a casket? Like everybody's got kind of their own preference, but I'm like, no, go use that money, go on vacation, live. Yeah. That's what Nick would have wanted. Go out and live. And we ended up bringing the boys back. We spent the rest of the week in Colorado. We ended up bringing the boys back.
And your life is still going on here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy because that's the other thing we've talked about before is eventually life, man, things move on, right? And you hope to be a big part of Jamie and Grayson's life. And you are a big part of their life. Like you said, though, is they live in Colorado, you live in Utah. It's not like you're going to uproot your family to go and take care of them. So life moves on, right? And Casey, her life is going to move on, and you hope that like you're a part of it, and I always struggle with that. With I've had friends and colleagues and people whose loved ones have died, and I've thought to myself, it's been over a year that I've called and checked on that person. Yeah, I just reached out to one of my friends' wife, and I didn't get permission from her yet to talk about his story, but I wanted to talk about a little bit about him. He was a great man, and he and I connected really fast right before COVID, and then he ended up passing. And his wife reached out to me, and it was a really like surreal thing for me that she reached out to me because it was during COVID, and I had realized the other day that it had been over a year that I had reached out to her, and I was thinking, man, like my life moved on, and I didn't, reach out to her, and I don't know how to stop that, but I think that as a man, those are where struggles come from, right? Like if you're struggling and somebody hasn't reached out to you, hasn't, and you don't have the ability to reach out yourself, it becomes a dark world.
I think in a lot of cases, like men are kind of trained not to be a burden. I should self-rescue. And I think there's some beauty to that, right? Sure. Like being self-sufficient. But I think that there's points when you too need to reach out. You need to say, hey, I need some help, or I'm struggling. Yeah. I met another cousin of mine, on my dad's side, the oldest cousin in that side who has a son, his younger son, who is now like 21 years old. I never met him before. Really? You know what I mean? I'm like, dang, these are people that like we grew up with, we knew, and then you just, like you said, your life grows apart. And as you separate the distance, as you create the distance, you really have to make an effort. You do. And like not take it personally if the reciprocation doesn't happen. Right. Because that's what happens sometimes is like, you're like, well, that person hasn't reached out to me. Right. So why would I reach out to them? Why would I reach out to them? And you can't, I personally, and I know you do the same thing. Like I don't take that personal, like I know that you've talked about the fact that you're working on, that is something that you're working on, is like reaching out to somebody, and like you get stuck in your own brain, and now you're like, I haven't even called or asked you how you're doing, right? Because you're like, we get stuck in our own mud. Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And absolutely. You're like, oh yeah, how are you doing? Yes. Yeah. Oh, I definitely feel like coming out of this week, I just needed to sleep. So we had Supfest. Oh yeah. What an event. That was so fun. It was a lot of fun. It was such a nice day out on the lake. Trent and Carla
they work. I told Trent they work so well together because had you met Carla before? Did you meet her?
I don't think I did meet her.
Carla she is awesome because like she's going like Trent 100 miles an hour, doesn't have time to talk, stopped for a second. You're like, hey, how are you? He's like, oh, I can't talk right now. You're like, hey, you need anything? A water, cool. And that's all. He was focused because he's running the races. He's doing that. Carla, same thing, 100 miles an hour. But you stop and you're like, hey, Carla. She's like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden she takes 15, 20 minutes to talk to you, ask you how you're doing, how's the family, smiling the whole time. She's a really, really beautiful person. And Trent and her work so well together. And he put that whole thing on with very little help. And
wow.
I was impressed that how well it ran. His races ran well. The people ran well. The band sounded amazing.
Yeah.
Shout out Hail Mary, Professor, Gustavo, Chris Parker, and Al. Man, they sounded great.
They were so good.
They allowed us to put the bus on the beach. And that was cool.
That was way cool.
It was a rough morning for us because I just had an issue with the bus and ran so far behind, dude. I was supposed to be there at 8:30.
Yeah. Oh.
I think I got there at 11.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took your camp spot because the boys had never been.
Oh, yeah. That's
right.
And
And that was awesome. Like, they had never camped before. We grilled them up some hot dogs.
That's sick. Yeah, it was a cool spot.
It was such a good spot. Like, and this is where I'm like, man, if I had a partner, right? Like, we get there, like, I have games to play. Like, I have the paddle boards all filled up. I have the tents all ready to go. I've done all the food and got the firewood. And they're like, did you get s'more stuff? And I'm like, that one little
that's one little thing.
They wanted to know if I did s'more stuff.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And I was like,
so funny.
I was like, you know what? We're lucky we even got here because literally I left 4:30 on Friday.
Yeah.
Got home at like noon on Friday. And immediately I'm like, I need a nap. And we're gonna go to the grocery store. And we're heading out to the
You guys left 4:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Did Ben didn't come to Supfest, but he was in Colorado.
He was in Colorado. Okay. He wanted to go hang out with friends, so he took a nap and then I think he would have. The problem is I didn't have a ride to get him there. I don't know. He's also one of my like vampire children.
Yeah.
He does not really get along with his son.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good day that you realize how lucky we are at Park City Jiu-Jitsu because all of our friends were there.
Yeah.
And they were all congregated around the bus, just like we wanted it to be, right? Everybody was just around the bus and everybody kept coming over and talking and we kept having all these like fun conversations and realizing like how lucky we are as a group to have each other in each other's lives, right?
Yeah.
And those memories, like our kids were like having a good time, the boys had a good time, and big shout out to Park City Sup for putting that together. And
that was cool.
I think it's a good event. I think he's gonna do some changes next year. It was supposed to go longer, so people kept showing up after he was done, but the band had already finished their set and there wasn't any more more races or anything, but I think he's going to try to adjust it a little bit more because it was technically supposed to go to 4 and it was we were there till 6:30. I think is when I ended up leaving.
Yeah.
You left at 6 ish. We wrapped up and Misty and I went and took the camp spot for the next night and it was fun.
So fun.
Yeah, it was a good day. That was a fun day. So now we have 4th of July coming up. You guys do anything for 4th of July?
No, I technically have the 4th of July this year. To be honest, I'm like so exhausted. Like I was hoping maybe we'd talk about sleep today because like I am struggling with some sleep.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, I told the kids I'm like I'm not really in much of a mood to do a whole lot. I bought a brisket. I'll smoke a brisket. I'm worst case scenario like. My thought is like I just want to watch the fireworks. I want to go to bed. I don't want to do the 4th of July breakfast
same.
that they do in Midway. If we want to go to Midway and watch the fireworks, I'm assuming that our favorite firefighter will let us crash on his lot.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what his work schedule is. He's probably working, but
I'm not a fireworks person. Speaking of sleep, like. It throws my dogs off. It throws my wife off. It throws me off. I don't sleep well. I hate fireworks. But I think that they're cool, but we live in this tinderbox,
Yeah.
and I'm always like, why do we still do this? Why
Right.
do we still have fireworks where potentially we could start a fire and this beautiful place that we live could be gone?
Right.
Right. And I'm probably a Scrooge about fireworks in the 4th of July, but we go to the rodeo. We go to the Oakley Rodeo.
Yeah.
So we'll do the Oakley Rodeo. We don't technically have big plans for the 4th of July. I think I actually work the day after. Can't remember what 4th of July day falls on, but
I think it's Wednesday or Thursday.
I will. Yeah. I'm not.
The reality is, this podcast is going to be out after the 4th of July.
It will be it'll be Friday.
Yeah,
after
Friday, the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so by then we'll have known. We'll be right into like coming up on summer camp, and
Summer camp
is going to be insane. So when you do you have a sleep schedule? Do you go like to bed the same time, wake up the same time?
Yeah, I do. I try to be to bed by 10:30. That is where I'm going through. I have a meditation that I listen to. Kind of, I've read that's like the best time to reprogram your subconscious as you're falling asleep. So I will listen to. It's about an hour long. I'll listen to it. I just have it on in the background.
Dude, there's a skunk that just walked across the road.
Is there really?
Yeah, it literally just walked across the road. Oh my gosh, that was insane. Sorry, I was looking at that.
That's why we're out here.
That was insane.
That's why we're out here. Yeah, so I do that. I do kind of like have a bathroom routine. Like I wash my face.
Same.
Kind of stretch a little bit before I go to bed, and then really try to turn everything off. I don't have a TV in my room.
Okay.
I used to, when I was connected with somebody, we had a TV in the room and we go watch TV, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. Like my room's for sleeping.
Do you find yourself falling asleep like fast waking up in the middle of the night, or are you able to sleep through the night?
It depends, man. I have several different experiences, right? Like recently, my brain has just been so overactive. I've been microdosing a lot with some psilocybin gummies, which I think has kept my brain a little bit more awake. And I have not been getting as restful sleep. So I'm trying to adjust that microdose. So
taking it a little earlier.
Sure. So like, I mean, it's beautiful. The color it adds to my world, but then my brain is still kind of going at 10:30.
And microdosing is one of those things where, like you said, like if you're not careful, if you're in the wrong mindset, it can cause you to be some adrenaline rushing.
Yeah.
Right. Your heart could start to race a little bit. So anytime you're getting ready to fall asleep, I also have a pattern of simple things I do. You know what I've been doing lately is putting the nasal strips on my nose to open up. I didn't do it while we were camping, and I didn't sleep very well, but I've been doing it, and I sleep a little bit better now. Because of my work schedule, I don't have the best sleeping routine. I wake up mostly, go to bed around 10:30 every night, and wake up about 3:30, up for about 20 minutes, and then fall back asleep till, depending on what day it is. I may have to wake up at 4:30. Sometimes I can wake up at 7:30. But for the most part, I lay on my acupuncture bed.
Oh yeah.
It's heated. I lay on my back. I close my eyes a little bit. Misty and I do have a TV, mainly for background noises for her.
Yeah.
And I'm usually asleep within, as soon as my head hits the pillow, I'm out.
See, I can do pretty good at falling asleep. I don't always stay asleep.
That's how I am.
Right. Like I will. And I think part of it this last week has just been like, man, just in such an emotional load, getting home, having the extra 2 boys plus my kids, like having my kids the extra days. I will always say yes to my kids.
Sure.
But it's work. As a father, you're leading these people.
You are.
You're not passively sitting by and saying like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Sure.
No, you're saying, nope, let's get our butts up. We're going to go do this. We're going to do that.
Well, and also like we talked about before, we're not technically, while being a breadwinner, sometimes you depend on your partner to make dinner and to make sure that things are flowing correctly. Like Misty does do a better job of, sorry about that, keeping things functioning and flowing.
Yeah.
but without having a partner, that's got to be tough as well, right? Like you've got to make sure your kids go to bed on time. You got to make sure that they're get their teeth brushed and all that. Develop their routines to get to sleep, right?
Right. Exactly. I'm trying to teach them good habits so they practice and they can, bring into adulthood with them.
Yeah.
All right. So as we bring it back to it, like your sleep routine is super important. Like, so as I was meeting with my therapist, that was one of the things he was always having me track was like, how much am I sleeping? 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
Right. Is a good restful sleep.
Yeah. What do you think about Jocko's and his thing of like wake up 4 o'clock in the morning every day and do his thing? There were times when I could sleep less, but I feel like you said, like a 6 to 8 hour routine keeps me functioning. Do you nap?
I can. I'll be honest, like this last week, like I've been so crappy. Like I took a nap yesterday. I took a nap today. I've just been exhausted. Do you see like some of that Jocko stuff of like going, 4 hours? I'll be honest. I feel really guilty. Like I woke up at 10 today and I'm like, dude, I feel crappy, but I'm like, my body needs rest. My body is like telling me to rest, like Tyler, you've carried a lot lately. You need to rest. Like this last 2 years has been incredibly heavy, and I can push myself. Like I'm stuck in this spot where I'm like, I need to rest, but I also need to go fucking harder. And so I don't know. I don't know that I could ever do the 4:30 wake up, 20 rounds plus a deadlift workout or what, you know what I mean? Like, I think that works for some people. I do think that there's some discipline that you gain because his whole thing is discipline starts early. Right. I think the way I see it is discipline starts with building the routine, being disciplined to the routine. I don't think he necessarily needs to wake up early. I think that works for him.
And I think like for the most part, the routine part is what you want.
Yeah.
Right? You want the routine. You want the ability to stay consistent so that your circadian rhythm is firing correctly. Because so being an air traffic controller, they do sleep studies, and I remember taking one, and it's every 3 hours. So your circadian rhythm is every 3 hours. So 3 hours. If you're going to get 4 hours of sleep, it'd be better to get 3 hours of sleep because you'll be like one sleep of like falling asleep, 2 hours of REM, and then your circadian rhythm starts back over. Right.
So you're kind of.
So if you wake up on that 4, and you haven't hit the REM of the second one, then you're going to wake up and your body's going to feel tired.
Yeah.
Right. So I do think about those things with circadian rhythm. Some of that stuff of, I think we talked about it the first podcast of when we talked about Fight Club.
Yeah.
And not sleeping and what it can do to you.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of craziness it can cause inside of your brain, right? Plus you already have, let's say you already have some of these things going on and you're already struggling mentally.
Yeah.
Not sleeping is going to cause that to be tenfold. Right, tenfold.
So I've got a story about a guy. He called me, one of my acquaintances. I'm gonna do my best to protect his nature because I still do talk to him, and I don't necessarily have permission to tell the story. And we try to get permission, but so relevant. Like he called me and was like, "Hey, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. And I went and helped him find his way. I didn't realize that like perhaps he possibly was on something. And turns out I found out like 2 or 3 days later, he went from the foothills of Colorado all the way down to I-25 down to Pueblo, almost to Pueblo. And that's like a 3-hour ride.
That's scary too.
He had been on a bender of Adderall.
Wow.
And I didn't really pick it up. I didn't know. I got him to his car. Like I didn't know. I thought it was suspicious. Like, how do you not know where you are? But I didn't really think anything of it. But like he had basically gone without sleep for 3 or 4 days because of Adderall.
Wow. The bugs are insane right now.
The bugs are insane.
I'm watching you like look into bugs, and I was looking at my own. So the whole idea of like that affecting, because like let's say you have your central nervous system is on point and it's doing okay. then not sleeping every once in a while is going to cause. It's not going to be like overly crazy.
No.
Let's say your central nervous system is not firing correctly.
No.
And you are in a fight or flight moment and you are not sleeping.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be hyper. You're fighting with your significant other or your ex, hyper.
Yep.
Something they say is going to catch you off guard. Boom, you're going to be like,
your children are triggering you much faster.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're snapping at your kids, and your kids are like, "What the hell did I do?" You're snapping at your coworkers. You're flipping somebody off driving down the road.
Right.
Sleep is that thing that can cause you to your central nervous system to fire incorrectly.
Right.
Which always, I love, our friends who are military and special forces, and we have some friends in that area, right? And I love knowing that they can regulate that as best as possible,
right?
And still, live action, live action shit.
No, I mean, I think it's true. It's you discipline your nervous system to be acclimatized to that. To me, like, I feel successful when I wake up 6:30. Like, to me, that's a successful morning, right? Get up, get out of bed, make the bed, and get some sunlight, right? Get some natural sunlight.
That's what I do.
Get out into the natural sunlight. Do my breath work routine. Do my because that's the opposite end of it, right? Waking yourself up correctly. Like I said, I've been struggling lately. I don't know if it's just the cognitive load that I've been under, but I'm like, I just feel like I need so much more rest.
Well, and honestly, like, the letdown is going to happen from the celebration of life.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to, like, now move forward.
Yeah.
Right. And that, like, that's going to happen for me. My sleep was off just because I was working on the bus, which is so small compared to what you guys were going through. But, like, man, in my world, it was like causing Misty and I were fighting a little bit more.
Yeah.
I was a little bit more grumpy. Yeah. I was waking up and, like, having shit I had to do, like, right away. And so the tail end of that is to always remember that routine. Set yourself up for success, right? Know when you're like, hey, you know what? I'm not here right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and, like, remove myself from this situation.
Yeah. That was me at training. That was me at training yesterday. Yeah. Like, I could tell. I got to class. Anthony taught an awesome class. I could tell that my training partner was like, yo, where you at? And I'm like, I can't stay for live rounds. I will get hurt. I will get hurt.
And knowing that about yourself. Knowing that you're going to, like, that you're like, hey, I'm going to protect myself tonight because my number one job is to protect myself.
Yeah.
And knowing that you can turn to people and be like, hey, man, I'm struggling. You know, I need just a little bit of companionship today. And telling you, like, I think you even said it last time, like telling people, hey, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And being okay with somebody, like, hey, them telling you back, yeah, well, you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can understand that, and so reframing, like we always talk about, reframing how things go, waking yourself up correctly and doing your routines to get yourself going. And just some days you're just going to survive. Some days it's not your turn to tap.
Yeah.
Some days it's just your turn to survive. To get through the round, the clock is going to go off and bedtime is going to come around again.
Yeah.
And maybe then you sleep. I do take days where I'm like, you know what? I'm not setting an alarm. I'm sleeping till 10.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to sleep and I don't give a shit.
That's kind of where I've been this week. I'm like, I just need to be compassionate with myself. I need to rest my body until I'm rested enough to kind of come out of this. Right. Like, it's not that I lack the discipline. It's that, like, something is happening to my body where I'm not functioning. I snapped at Ben. I snapped it. Like, by the time the boys were ready to leave, I was so ready for my kids to leave on Sunday that I was just like, can you take the oldest one with you?
Yeah.
Because, like, I just need, and obviously, like, today I'm like, man, I miss them already. But like,
Sure.
I just needed the break. I needed the break from being on.
Yeah.
And work does it to you. It drains those batteries, and you got to recharge those batteries. And you cannot, like, oversleeping, I think, does not necessarily like recharge, like you said, your circadian rhythm. It doesn't necessarily make up for the lack of sleep, right? So it's the routine is probably far better than trying to sleep more, or like even napping throughout the day. But I didn't know that about the 3 hours. That's super interesting.
Yeah. So I remember like 3, 6, 9, good. 4, depending on 4 and 5 is just one of those things where, like, man, like, you're waking up in the middle of a rhythm, right? And it's the same concepts that I do when I'm breathing. I do the same concepts. I still think about the same concepts when I'm breathing. And so just remembering that the way, like, your body functions is a rhythm. It's a rhythm. Sleep is a rhythm. Waking up, a rhythm. How your body flows throughout the day is a rhythm. Training jiu-jitsu, a rhythm.
A rhythm.
Everything that you're doing is just getting into some sort of rhythm that when you're off and you're feeling off and your brain is off and your body's off and you're not feeling focused and you're not feeling yourself, your rhythm is going to carry you through that. Your rhythm is going to get you. What is it? Remember that song? Your rhythm is going to get you or something.
Oh, yeah.
your rhythm is going to get you. I can't remember exactly how it goes.
Yeah.
But keeping in mind that, knowing that as a man, you're going to be held to the standard of still do the shit that you need to be required. Knowing that you need to find a good support system, knowing that you need to find, like, those things that we talk about, the things that we always hit on when we're talking, finding a good support system, finding your tribe, finding the people that are around you, knowing that eventually it's going to get okay. It's going to be okay, and not taking yourself out of the equation is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Right. And so sleep is good, man. Like, I would say, sleep as much as you can, sleep as little as you can.
Right.
Get what you need.
Well, yeah, listen to your body, right? Your body is constantly, we're feeling creatures as much as we are, any other type of creature, but like we got to listen to those signs.
Sure.
Right. Our feelings are guides that guide us to safety. Our body has other ways of telling us, if we're drifting off, if our focus isn't there, you've got to take the time to rest and really rest. Don't get on social media and doom scroll. And I'm telling this to myself as much as I'm telling it to you, because
I've done so bad lately because my two things. My Instagram feed has been going crazy with VW buses because I've been looking at so much VW buses, trying to get the bus ready. The other one is, I love that Hawk 2 situation, dude. And I love thinking about how that whole thing changed the internet. It changed the entire world. The internet.
I would like to interview her dad on the podcast. If anybody knows her and can get her dad on the podcast, you got a bug
right on your head.
Yeah, I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Are you?
But, I've got like 4 or 5 already.
Really?
Yeah, they like this.
Right on your, yeah,
fine white.
Man, I same thing. Like, at work, like, we have had so much fun with that situation. It is crazy to me how much it changed the internet and what it shows about our society, you know. And that poor girl, like, she is like, how does she know? I was listening to Joe Rogan. How does she know that interview is going to go like that? How do you know that that's what's going to cause the internet to just go berserk? And everybody now is like, you know what that is? It's like, give him the Hawk 2. And we were talking today of how we could get it into our, because at work we use phraseology, and somebody was like, how can we finally get it into it? And so a Cessna Skyhawk is a Cessna 172. So we could say Skyhawk, and somebody was like, I got it. Skyhawk 2, and then give the call sign and use 2 as on the frequency with the pilots.
And the annals of the FAA.
Yeah, dude. And get away with it. Oh, we laughed so hard. Man, what a night.
Oh man, so amazing.
I think like some days, like I always say, like some days life just delivers. I've been saying that a lot lately. Like some days life just delivers. Like you and Cozy going to Zach Bryan. My wife was so mad at you. She was so mad because she's like, Tyler has now seen Zach Bryan twice. I haven't seen him once. We had 2 opportunities to see him small venues.
Yeah.
Twice it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go to a big venue and I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Right? But sometimes life just delivers and it gave you what you needed. Right?
Oh yeah.
Going to Nick's celebration of life. Sometimes life just delivers.
It does.
The weekend was amazing.
Yeah.
It just delivers. And as long as you keep a good attitude about life, you know, and what it does for you, and you're going to be fine, you know,
right?
Like, cause you know what? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Yeah.
Life, it's not guaranteed.
No, it's not. It's not. And I had an experience last night where we were texting each other and it wasn't making sense, but I was in the middle of this experience where I was just having some like real thoughts. Like gratitude is really the fertilizer that makes good things grow in your life.
Sure.
It really is. You need to employ gratitude even when you don't want to. Make that your default
I agree with you.
Because it will pull you out.
It will.
It will boost your growth to something better, to a higher plane. Gratitude. And I ebb and flow with gratitude. I do, you know, in November I did 31 straight days of gratitude posts. And I want to do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to train your brain to see that. Otherwise you train that reticular activation system to see something else. Bullshit. Or,
we've been having concerts in the park lately in Heber, so I love seeing you over there. I love hanging out over there. And I love like last night when you were talking, I was like, I have no idea what he's talking about. But I remember like waking up this morning and going, you know what, I'm going to text him that I love him. You know, and like the first thing that you see is like, hey man, I care about you, dude.
No, I appreciated that.
You know, and I think that about gratitude. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this life. I'm thankful for what we have. I'm thankful for these opportunities. The fact that you were like, hey dude, let's go film outside. And I didn't know what to expect. You know, I was like, yeah, let's go do it. And I'm going to take a pictures because we're going to post it on social media that we've finished up this thing. And so signing off, let me get this, both of us in here. Let me turn it on to video. So you guys will see me doing this whole thing. So here we are signing off from doing this.
Signing off from the bus.
Signing from the bus. This is Tyler. This is our view. Anything last words to say, Tyler?
No, man. Camp, be good. Enjoy the summertime.
Yeah.
Enjoy the summertime. Be safe and love on your children, love on your loved ones, and nothing's guaranteed.
Yep. Same. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Rise up, don't turn it back.